my favorite sector is a sector called not yet a sector. Right? I've said this often enough. I really am not interested in getting into a business or getting into a vertical where somebody else is already present. We're pretty much in a winner-take-all world. You know, in the 20th century, you could be number 10 in a sector and you could still run a good business. In this century, if you're not number 1, you're nothing. You know, Google owns search, there's no number 2. eBay owns auctions and marketplaces, there's no number 2. Facebook owns social networking, there's no number 2. I mean, it doesn't matter. You've got to be number 1 or nothing. So, if I'm investing in a company that says it's already in a sector, I get very worried. I'd rather be in a company that's saying, I'm going to create a sector around and there's nothing like us around and we're going to be the first company that does that. So, my favorite sector is not yet a sector. You wanted to ask me about e-commerce and this apparent perception that I hate all e-commerce, right? I think there's also a Twitter ID called whatever it is, Fake Mahesh or whatever, Fake Murthy that talks about that. It's very curious. I own stakes in 5 e-commerce companies, so it's very curious why I would be seen to hate. In fact, I'm actively looking at e-commerce companies. So it could be a very sly move by me to just downplay the value of everything and go buy them, except I'm not that clever, right? I just think that, you know, companies need to be built by word of mouth in this day and age, and if you don't have that word of mouth, you're going to be a bottomless pit of money. I was talking to a couple of e-commerce CEOs today who run large companies, and the larger the company, the larger the loss. So eventually, these companies are topi plays, right? They get a huge amount of money and they find some guy idiot to put the topi on. The fact is the government has put the biggest topi on them by saying no FDI, so they're really screwed. Nobody in India is stupid enough to go and buy them. So to find some dumb idiot from outside to come and buy them, and the government has stopped that. So there is some serious despair in the industry saying kisi gadhe ko to aane do topi dalne ke liye, right? So I think till that kind of happens, you're going to kind of see that they're going to run out of money, or they're going to keep raising more and more money. The promoters are going to get diluted to nothingness. Some random hedge fund manager, PE manager, VC guy is going to end up owning a company he doesn't know how to run. It's okay, I mean, somebody has to, it keeps people employed, fund managers need to be employed, VCs need to be employed, entrepreneurs need to be employed. It's good. I think e-commerce is good. It's probably part of the Rajiv Gandhi Gram Vikas Yojana, whatever, Berozgari project, and I think it's perfectly cool from that point of view. But if you really want to run a business out of it, that's not the way to do it. You should not need hundreds of millions of dollars to run a business. It's ridiculous if somebody tells you that you do. You should focus on what makes you unique, what can drive extraordinary viral word of mouth, and then e-commerce is an awesome way to deliver product. So I don't hate e-commerce per se, no, absolutely. Okay, so I am in the very curious position of being both an entrepreneur and an investor, and if it makes you very happy, I did not take and will not take VC money in the company that I run myself called Pinstorm, because it's not. I mean, it's not a company that can easily go public, and certainly it could not have gone public 8 years ago when I started it. It'll take another year or two to do that, or be acquired, right? So I think you must really understand that I'm not sure what the glamour is. Essentially, when you take VC money, it basically means tum bali ke bakra ho, you're going to get sold one day. So if you think being the goat on before Bakrid is glamorous, hey, funded company, you're glamorous, right? I think it's very hard work. You must understand, you must be ready that there's a company that's going to be sold at the end of this, and that's your company, and you might end up working for the acquirer for some time. You may make some money on it, but the VC will make money on it. You must really understand. So I'm not sure what the glamour is. It's pretty much that if you think you've left employment to become an entrepreneur, then if you get VC funded, I think about those thoughts of freedom again, my boy. Think about it again. So I don't think any entrepreneur is wrong. I think if what you want to do is, be a serial entrepreneur, that's fine. I don't think the greatest entrepreneurs in the world are serial entrepreneurs. Really, I don't, right? I don't think anybody in the second or third or fourth company is a great guy, because you haven't really made that much of an impact, right? So if you look at the companies that have made an impact, whether it's a Google or an Apple or a, GE or a whatever it is, these aren't guys who've been going around leaving companies, starting. They build a company over a lifetime and make a huge difference to humanity. So if you're concerned about a difference to humanity, absolutely, then I think the company of a lifetime is really what you want to do. And if you're really concerned about saying, where my next buck is coming from, you keep flipping companies, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing both. It's pretty much like in the stock market, there are speculators and there are investors. The speculators in entrepreneurship are the serial entrepreneurs, and the investors in entrepreneurship are pretty much the guys who run a company for a lifelong. The market needs both. I started doing angel stuff in '99, and I did angel stuff till 2006. I still do some odd angel stuff. I only wish it was I was so cool back then. You know, back then people thought we were idiots. Now they think we're cool idiots. You know, I think, you know, there's not that many. What, you give money and you don't own the company, and there's no interest rate on it, and some guy goes around, plays around with it. Yeah, in some ways that's kind of sort of angel stuff. But I think, you know, on a slightly less jocular vein. Yeah, so if you look at any ecosystem, it really is like a food pyramid, right? You start with the bacteria and plankton at the bottom, and you kind of get to higher life forms like humans, and then maybe the dolphins or something beyond that, or whatever it is, right? So essentially, even the funding ecosystem has to be this kind of a pyramid. So we have the kind of hedge funds which manage a few $1 billion, and we have the PE funds which manage like a couple of $1 billion, and then we have the growth VC funds which manage $200 to $500 million, or $100 to $500 million, and then we have the real actually VC funds which are early stage people like us who manage up to $100 million, and who invest up to, you know, $2 to $5 million, and then you have to go a level lower, and you have this like kind of quasi startup angel groups that kind of can invest up to $1 million. But what about? But you need to go even lower than that, because even sometimes $1 million is too much. You need to be able to take, you know, 5 lakhs in a company, 2 lakhs in a company, and we need hundreds of thousands of angels in India. I think the great thing that's really happening is that we're kind of overcoming this lucky sperm syndrome. We kind of, in this world where, you know, a baap is going to give all his paisa to his nalayak beta, rather than give his very, very very capable outsider, because we believe, "Arey, mera beta hai, to kya hua," right? So we're going away from this "I want to give all my money to my nalayak beta" thing, and I think there are people who are saying, "Well, you know, I'll invest it in somebody else." So it's good. I think we have just maybe a few hundred angels, maybe 1,000 at the most. We probably need tens of thousands. You know, this has to go by another factor of 10. And it's a good time, and by the way, I just heard it's also very cool.